We're obviously here today to try and talk about raising awareness for men's mental health and suicide awareness. It's International Men's Day on the 19th of November, and I wanted to share the story of something that I did recently in my personal life. So I wanted to try and raise as much awareness as possible to support men's mental health and get people talking. So I don't know why, but I entered a charity boxing match and did 8 weeks worth of training. There was about 40 to 50 men, along with a handful of women that did the training. On the actual fight night itself, I wore my It Takes Balls to Talk t-shirt just to try and raise more awareness of the reason and the campaign behind why I was doing it. One of the lads there said to me, what's your t-shirt? And I said to him, I explained that, Balls to Talk is a campaign that where we try and get men talking through sport to try and talk and open up about their emotions. And naturally, I was quite taken back by kind of what happened next. One lad started opening up and telling me about how he had a breakdown and what he did to help him recover. That invoked another gentleman to come over and have another conversation about it. And then a third person came over and had a conversation, and before I knew it, they were sharing their stories and I just stood back and said nothing. I initially facilitated that conversation, but it was purely through wearing a t-shirt. They knew who I was for the whole of the 8 weeks, but didn't necessarily talk to me about their mental health. But because of the powerfulness of just this one thing that was on a t-shirt, suddenly they all started talking about their emotions. They spoke with each other and had camaraderie and chats with each other. But I think about maybe being a female in a very male-dominated environment cut through some of the barrier, to be honest, a bit of a breakdown. They included me completely with all of their lad conversations, which most of them I didn't want to hear. But they included me in everything, and that opened up a good scenario for us to become quite good friends, really, for them to then feel like they could talk to me about how they'd had felt in the past. Being involved in the sport is what created them to open up about it. I think if I had been there as a person, as part of the campaign and a mental health nurse, trying to talk about It Takes Balls to Talk and asking people do they want to talk to me, that would have had no effect necessarily, but being involved and being there was what was so powerful about the situation. For me, it was such a poignant moment, having done 8 weeks worth of boxing and doing all of the emotional reasons as to why I'd done it. Even if I won or lost, it was a good enough moment for me to understand actually that's worked, and it's been really good for the guys just to have had that moment to open up with each other. And I think really the message is about not suppressing your emotions, talking to each other, having those awkward and difficult conversations. And as we, enter towards International Men's Day, thinking about how many champions we can get within certain sporting clubs, as in like rugby clubs or football clubs or dojo gyms or boxing gyms, and being part of the sport itself and being somebody who's happy to have that awkward conversation initially and ask, how do you feel? And then try to support listening to that person. I completed a boxing match and which I was successful in winning. Yeah, I'm really happy that I won. Obviously, walking into a ring was not something that I never ever really wanted to do, and hitting somebody was not something that was ever in my nature. However, it was for a campaign and it was for the reasons, for my personal reasons that I wanted to do it, and so pushed myself to go through the challenge. I would possibly consider returning for a second match, however, not just yet. And we managed to raise over £1,150 for It Takes Balls to Talk, the campaign that is supported by CWPT, along with also Survivors of Bereavement by Suicide, which is a charitable organisation which supports people who have been bereaved by suicide and continues to support the families on their difficult journey, trying to live life without having their loved one anymore. International Men's Day comes round on the 19th of November, there's never more an important day for us to have those conversations with people in our lives that we care about and want to support.